We're now going to look at some problems in Chapter 4, and the first one we're doing is 4-18. So in the previous chapter, in Chapter 3, we looked at identifying one rate to assign your overhead to all the jobs or products that you were responsible for. So in this particular chapter, what we're doing now is we are breaking down your overhead into components. So there's several activities that are included in overhead costs, and not all products or jobs will use the same amount of each of these activities. So when you break down your overhead into a lower level, identifying all the activities, this actually will increase your accuracy. So looking at problem 18A, our first requirement here is to calculate the allocation rate for each activity. So the company has determined, and this is up to the company to determine, what are the main activities. So they've decided the main activities are material handling, machine setup, insertion of parts, and finishing. And you are given these costs here in the table. And in the narrative just below the table, you're told the number of parts, the number of setups, and the number of finishing hours. So all we're doing here is using this allocation base. You're taking your cost, divide by the allocation base to come up with a rate per activity. So all we're doing, setups divided by the total number of setups, $340 per setup, and so on. So now that we have our rate for each of these activities, what we're going to do is for the two jobs that this company is working on, we are going to assign the overhead costs using these rates and the actual activity used by each of these two jobs. So we'll just scroll down to job number 420. So with job 420, we're told that they use 150 parts times $4, 600. They only had one setup, so $340. In terms of insertion of parts, they had 150 parts times 16, which is $2,000. And finishing, they had 120 hours, and it's $40 per hour, $4,800. Add them all up, $81.40 is the overhead assigned to job number 420. The next thing we're asked to do is to identify the cost assigned to job number 510. So we'll just scroll down here to 510. And again, you'll see that the rates are the same here, but what you're doing here is you're multiplying it by the parts that are identified with job 510. So 425 parts times $4, $1,700, and so on. So you see here, with this particular job, they are having two setups at $340 per setup, $680. So the total manufacturing overhead assigned or allocated to this particular job, number 510, is $21,980. So that concludes the debrief on E4-18.